Wendy, thank you very much. And hello, everybody. My name's Darren Hunter. I don't know whether you have actually attended my training before or been part of our webinars before, but you are in for a good time. But buckle up. It's possible we may go over 45 minutes a day, but we're just going to give you a ton of really, really good information. This is part of a series that I have finished over 5 cities where we rolled this out live. This web event is really the same material, but I've also added in some exclusive material as well that wasn't covered in our live event series that we did around Australia. So guys, feel very, very special. Of course, this is a 3-part series we're doing over the next 3 weeks, including today. We have actually advertised about 45 minutes each, but it could go over as well. I want to make sure you get as much value out of these sessions as you can. There's so much property management, time management, nuts and bolts we're going to hit you with. So make sure you're sitting down, you've got your notebook, and you're ready to take lots of notes so you can go back and implement. Now, just get this going here. Just bear with me. Here we go. Alrighty. Now, this is, of course, part 1, but today we're going to cover how to master your daily agenda and take control. But firstly, before we get started, I just want to bring into the room Shannon from MyConnect. Now, MyConnect is certainly a connection utility company in Australia which has a very, very strong point of difference. They are the only company, utility connection company, that's not owned by the power company that you're dealing with. So welcome, Shannon.
Thank you very much, Darren, and hi to everyone in the room, and thank you for the invite. I just want to touch on a few little points to leave you with some things to think about, and maybe an offer at the end for everyone that's in the room if they were considering switching utility connection companies. So MyConnect, we've been in business now for 12 years. We are the second oldest utility connection company, and as Darren did mention, we are the only utility connection company that is completely independent. And basically, what that means for you, your tenants, clients, even friends and family is that they have complete choice. So our dialogue's a lot different. We ask your tenant, we ask your client who they would like to connect with, who they would like to move the utilities with. So we give the onus and the responsibility to them. So there's absolutely no bias from our end, and there's two parts to that that's beneficial for the office, for the real estate agent, the property manager, and the tenant, and that's more connections, a smoother process, and more rewards. Absolutely, we will convert more leads that you send to us to sales just because of the choice, and in effect will actually allow you guys to earn a little bit more money, which is always the most beneficial things. We do connect electricity, we connect gas, we connect phone, internet, pay TV, and we actually are in with some insurance as well, which is not a huge uptake, but we do insurance with CGU and some truck hire. So in regards to choice for the tenants, we do cover around about 90%, any give and take a few percent here and there, but 90-95% of the population. So there's really no I suppose no reason for the tenant not to connect with us. We do give them the rider's choice, and that really does make the process really, really smooth. And which is even more fantastic for people here in Darren Hunter's little webinar that we got. We've got a special offer. If anyone in this webinar today would like to connect with us and discuss utility connections and perhaps implement a partnership with MyConnect, we are happy to supply that office, that property manager, whoever it may be, a new iPad on their 10th connection. So not only will you get the great rewards, which I guarantee will be better than most, if not all, utility connection providers, your tenants will get complete choice, more rewards, and the iPad. So we will reach out to you guys. If you guys want to have a discussion with us, reach out to us. We're readily available for a discussion and ready to help you guys out.
Now, Shannon, there's a lot of people in on today that are watching the recording, so they could be watching this, a few weeks after that this actual announcement was given. So, what's the offer there for people that are watching a recording?
Yeah, anyone that watches this recording, anyone that is engaged in the webinar training session here, you are absolutely ready and available and in to grab a free iPad if you guys connect with us. So anyone that's in here, anyone that's attended this webinar, you can certainly gain a new iPad by partnering with us. That's for absolutely everyone.
Okay, so thank you very much, Shannon. And of course, here is Shannon's details here. You can email him at shannon@myconnect.com.au, his phone number, and of course, myconnect.com.au, the web address to visit and get that all set up. Thank you very much, Shannon. Let's continue on. Now, very quickly, I do want to promote this webinar series. This teaching is very much part of a yearly or a 12-monthly webinar series that you can be a part of, which is written specifically for property managers. It doesn't cover business development. We do cover that in our Inject Growth series, but this is everything but business development. It's time management, it's conflict management, it's better communication, it's effective repairs and maintenance, it's working with tradespeople, it's identifying warning signs of illicit drug production, warning signs of bad tenants, how to be the best property manager in town. There's a whole heap of sessions that we've written. We even did a session on the 12 steps to decontamination of a meth contaminated rental property. So we get right into the nuts and bolts. So 22 sessions all up, 45 minutes each over a 12-month period. We're currently reaching over 5 countries, up to 700 property management attendees. We've been going really strong now, 10 months. We're still winding up. So we'd love you to be part of that. Now, if you want to be part of that, we are also giving you an awesome offer like MyConnect. So if you join our webinar series, these are also recorded seminars that I've done previously. And those particular seminars there's over 7 hours, our best live seminar teaching. We're getting right into conflict management with controlled conflict now, zero tolerance rent control. I teach you how to deal effectively with your serial late rent offenders and only how to deal with those. Also, top time stress management keys. I recorded that one live in Texas. Effective communication, the greatest property manager in town, which is motivational teaching for property managers and overcoming common mistakes. And one of my favorites, survive, thrive, and avoid the mental asylum, good stress management for property managers. All up, this is worth $594 if you go to my shopping cart and download it. We're going to give it to you for free. If you go to today or in future, go to our darrenhunter.com training/webinars. You'll find the nuts and bolts landing page there, but you must use this code. Otherwise, you won't be able to get $594 worth of value. PM time. Wendy's given you the link in the chat room. Otherwise, you can go to darrenhunter.com and training/webinars to then subscribe and be part of that. Now, costings, I didn't talk about costings there. It's $99 per month for a commitment of 12 months, or you simply pay $990 upfront and you get access to your whole team at the same office location. Let's get started. So some housekeeping terminology. We have offices today spread over 3 countries. So please be aware that we're using Australian terminology. We are using British spelling, not American spelling, because we do have some United States offices in our training today. Legislation, if I say anything that contradicts your legislation, please apply your legislation first. Now, you're welcome to ask any questions during the session. I'll be doing my best to watch the chat room. Otherwise, leave your questions for the end. Now, there is a delayed response. It's about a 15-second delay to where you ask something to where I see it, respond, and you get your response. So just be aware of that. And also, recordings will be emailed out to you within 2 business days. So you can watch it with your team or do whatever you'd like with that. Okay, so let's get started now. Today in part 1, also in part 2 and part 3 coming up, I am covering a ton of property management nuts and bolts, tips, all sorts of things. It's not all meant just for you. You can pick and choose out of it what you like, but if you don't like something, just pass by it, but it may be applicable to someone else. So please understand, just like an amazing resort that you can go to, like in Bali or Thailand or wherever, you got a massive amount of different things that you can choose from, and you just pick and choose what you like. This time management series is just like that. Now, firstly, I'm going to give you my biggest tip of all. This is the skill that I have developed that has given me the greatest return on time management. If there's one thing and one thing only you're going to learn out of today, what I'm going to teach you right now is the most powerful and give you the greatest return on results. But it sounds a little bit weird, a little bit kooky. So you must bear with me. Please open your mindset now. And as I start to unpack this so you can understand where I'm going with this bit by bit, and it's amazing how it can actually change the way that you think and the way that you're programmed currently towards your current time management results that give you your results so you can get better results. Now, firstly, understand the power of the human brain. It is an amazing computer, and that amazing computer that you are in possession of created the space shuttle. Now, the space shuttle created by mankind is the most complex machine on the planet, yet the human brain created that, and you've got access to that same supercomputer, the human brain. Also, the human brain created a bank of supercomputers around the planet, but even these supercomputers in 40 minutes can only map out what the human brain can do in 1 second. You have the most amazing machine ever, and you have access to it, and this can change your time management results. You just need to know how to reprogram your brain. So firstly, let's just start getting to this base 1, base 2, base 3, so you can understand how we do that. That your belief, what you believe as fact about yourself, what you believe about your time management habits, what you believe to be true sets your mind limit, and that mind limit is a lid. And corrective behavior then brings into being what you believe. What you believe then leads to what you do. What you do is always in line with what you believe. So firstly, to understand this concept, think of a car salesperson. Now, this car salesperson has an absolute belief that he's worth $70,000 a year in commission, and he won't get out of bed for anything less. So $70,000 is what motivates him out of bed every morning to get to work for someone else, and to achieve that goal. Now, he set his goal in January that this year I'm going to earn $70,000, but come October, he's struggling a bit. He's well behind. Things haven't gone very, very well this year. And in fact, he's sitting on $40,000. He should be well up towards his 60 by now. And so he starts his frantic behavior. He starts calling up old deals and old clients and seeing if they want to sell their car, and behavior he normally wouldn't do. So his mind limit is $70,000. Reality at the moment is at 40, so therefore he's got corrective behavior or frantic behavior that's trying to drive him up to his mind limit or his lid. Let's do this again so you understand the concept better. There is a couple here, and collectively they bring in a household income of $100,000 a year between them. So they're earning about $50,000 between them. All their bills, their mortgage, everything surrounds this and is supported by this $100,000 a year income. And like a lot of people, perhaps at the end of the 2 weeks or every 4 weeks when they get paid, there is more month left than money. And this is how they live. Like a lot of people, their expenses in some cases meet or exceed their income. But now they've won the lotto. There's $115 million sitting in their account. Their mindset lid or limit is $100,000 a year. Now they've got $115 million. Look at this massive surplus sitting in their account. Oh my goodness. But now, because their mindset limit or lid is at $100,000 and reality is well over that at 115 million, now corrective behavior starts to now come into play. And so now they're going on all these massive world tours, first class, and spending all this money, bringing all their family with them, paying off all their family mortgages. And now they've bought 5 Lamborghinis and bought 5 mansions. And so suddenly this money is now coming down. The actual limit of their bank account, or the actual amount of money in their bank account, is coming down with corrective behavior back to what they believe they are worth, which is $100,000 a year. And in fact, they're probably only used to maybe $1,000 or $2,000, maybe a few $100s in their account, and that's where their bank balance is racing towards, back to what they believe. So you understand what we believe, our mind limit and our lid, and corrective behavior always brings our circumstances back in line with what we believe. So what I'm saying with this, we can reprogram the way that you think, even if you're bad at time management, or you believe that you're bad at time management. If you feel that you're okay with it and want to improve, what I'm about to teach you is going to allow you to enhance or take advantage of the power of corrective behavior once we change your mindset lid, or the way that you think about time management. Okay, so firstly, understand repetition. If you say or hear something about yourself enough times, eventually you'll believe it as fact and it will become true for you. We understand that maybe as a child in the schoolyard, or even we had some parents that didn't do the wrong thing. They said certain things to us enough, eventually we believe it as fact. So repetition of words does that. Also, fact is reality. Once it becomes your fact, your truth in your mind, it then becomes your reality, and your corrective behavior is then working to bring that into being. So we're actually talking about affirmations here. I am statements. Saying I am statements over and over and over again will eventually make this as a new truth or a fact in your mind, and then corrective behavior comes into play. But we cannot have any other deviation. It must be said as I am. It can't be I will be, or I want to be more effective and efficient with my time. Is I am. You have to say the statement I am as if it's already occurred, as if it's already fact for you. And you need to say it even if you're really, really bad at time management. So what I'm saying here is we need to say and write down every day, just once a day, I am effective and efficient with my time. The next day, I am effective and efficient with my time. The next day, I am effective and efficient with my time. And all the time you're saying it's not true, because you know you're not effective and efficient. But you keep on going, 5, 6, 7, 10, 15, 21 days. It takes about 21 days of doing what I'm telling you to do here before suddenly you wake up and you actually believe you are effective and efficient with your time. And only when you get to that point, takes about 3 weeks. And of course, never stop writing this, but takes about 3 weeks to realize it. When you believe it is a fact, suddenly now corrective behavior is now going to kick in and become your friend and drive you to better time management practices. So don't stop writing it down. It takes about 21 days. So after about 3 weeks of doing this, what are you going to experience? What's going to happen to you? Well, firstly, for me, I remember hopping in my car and thinking of all of these appointments and inspections that I need to do. And suddenly I'm thinking, what's the most effective and efficient way that I can do my tasks or do these appointments today? In the office, I've had a lot of phone calls and a lot of stuff and tasks that I need to do, just like I'm teaching you today. And now I'm thinking, okay, before I start, what's the most effective and efficient way that I can do these phone calls? What's the most effective and efficient way that I can do these tasks? This is how I'm now starting to think. And now I'm becoming more effective and efficient with my time. Also, it sort of spills over into your private life. I go out to my garage and it's just an absolute mess. And suddenly I've now got a spare Saturday that I've put aside where I'm going to straighten out my garage. And so now at the start of the day, before I start cleaning it up, I'm thinking what's the most effective and efficient way that I can get my garage tidied up. And this is extended to the way I do the dishes and the way I might help out with housework. What's the most effective and efficient way that I can do this task that's now at hand? This is what it does. And I haven't stopped writing down this statement just about every day now for at least 10 years, to a point where I'm now effective and efficient with my time to be able to teach you, because once I wasn't good with time management. So that is my very, very best tip that's completely changed me. So moving on now, I'm going to teach you the top 3 time management skills that's going to get your tasks done 2 to 3 times faster than ever before. And so firstly, we're going to talk about mastering your daily agenda. And skill number 1, out of the 3 skills I'm going to teach you, and skill number 1, you must record everything. You've got to be able to write everything down, remember nothing. I remember 4 weeks into being a property manager in 1989. I remember I was at my desk. I was in a sense of completely being overwhelmed. I had my head in my hands at my desk. My manager come in and he said, "Darren, what's wrong?" And I said, "Look, I just can't do everything. I'm completely overwhelmed." And he said, "Darren, where's your list?" And I said, "Where's my what?" And he says, "Where's your list? You need to be writing absolutely everything down." So I started from that day with a notebook, absolutely writing everything down, remembering nothing. An awesome property management leader by the name of Norm Honey from the Independent Property Group in Canberra said that the shortest pencil is better than the longest memory. Okay, you must write everything down. The actual habit of writing everything down is a sense of mental health, because if you're allowing stuff in your head, trying to remember things, it's like trash rolling around on the floor of your car. It causes brain clutter, and brain clutter is a source of stress. You must clear your mind and write absolutely everything down. Property managers, it's like Australia's Got Talent or America's Got Talent with those shows, and you're on stage and you've got like 500 vertical sticks where you're spinning plates on the top, and you've got to go around and make sure that when one starts to slow down, a plate starts to wobble, you run over and you get it spinning again, so not one of those plates drop. The only way, when you've got 300 to 400 active tasks right now, right from little things right through to big things, that's really what you've got. You cannot afford to miss anything. Therefore, you must write everything down. And I think I've got the message through. So once we've written everything down into one source, and you may be using an app or maybe using Outlook tasks. For me, I used a notebook. Whatever works for you, make sure you're not remembering everything. Then every day we then have to take out of that one source where we've written everything down, and then we're going to write into one page everything that you have to do just for today. We're going to write it into 4 key groups. We're going to show you a form coming up. But do not start the day without your daily list. See it like your tasks today is like a big tree, and you've got to chop down that tree every day with your axe. Are you just going to go, "Well, I haven't got time to sharpen my axe, so I'm just going to get straight into it"? What's going to happen if you're hitting the tree or chopping the tree with a blunt axe? Is going to take a lot more work and effort and stress to get through that tree. Alternatively, spend 10 minutes sharpening your axe. Okay, you're not hitting that tree yet, you're not chopping it down yet, but you just invest in your time before you start sharpening your axe. So when you do start swinging at that tree, you're chopping through 2 to 3 times faster than you would have done otherwise. Writing down your daily list. For every minute that you spend planning before you execute your tasks will save 10 minutes later. If you spend 10 minutes writing down what you need to do just for today out of your notebook, out of your app, whatever, you'll likely save up to 90 minutes later on. This is, again, master time management skills that you must get right if you're not already doing it. Always have your daily list within your site. Don't allow files to get onto it. Always have it within your site, because when every phone call, every interruption, every person coming into that front office without an appointment, every staff member that's going to interrupt you, every time it's like the wind blowing you off course. It's like the tide taking you off your course. Every time you look at your daily list, it gets your coordinates back on track, gets your flight plan back on track, so you can get to and buckle down just with what you have to do today. Alrighty, so now for me, when I was in property management, I used the old trusty notebook, but also here are some other apps. Now, as a trainer and consultant now, in fact, I use GQs generally for a lot of things as well. You can also use Microsoft Outlook tasks or whatever, but here is my point here. When you're out on the road, when you're at inspections, you need to be able to quickly record anything that comes to mind, anything you come across very quickly into this app. If it takes time for you to open the app, 5 seconds for the logo then to come up and then disappear before you actually get into your application, and then you're battling with auto text and all those sorts of things, is that app really the best thing for you at the moment? Or it could be a trusty notebook. Only you can answer that, but you have to record it somewhere. Alrighty, now, Wendy, if you can just drop this form into the room, guys, you're getting a link that you can download this PDF form. If you're a part of the recording, we'll make sure that in the comment section of the video that you're watching, you'll also be able to get this link as well. So this is our daily task manager with everything that you need to do today. You drop your the phone calls you must do today into the top left, your emails you must do today into the top right, urgent stuff goes into the shaded section, and then anything lower priority goes into that other section there. But only put in what you're going to do today. Don't make that your full to-do list with everything you need to do, because it's not going to fit. Just only what you have to do today. Now, I would bind this with a wire coil. Look, you can use a plastic coil, but generally when I'm printing 30 or 40 of these things, which is going to last me a lot more than a month, then a plastic coil, it may fall apart by the time of 4 weeks time, because you're carrying this thing wherever you go. Alrighty, so because it's got high traffic, high wear and tear, I found that the wire coils allowed me to get to those 30 or 40 pages a lot better without it falling apart. So just some things. I had a plastic see-through cover on the front. I had on the back a black plastic cover on the back. But this is what worked for me. Okay, now you're actually saying, well, Darren, this is old school. You shouldn't be using paper. Look, I'm going to show you a reason why I still like to write everything down. There is a real key point instead of just reading typed lists or anything like that. Okay, now moving on. Skill number 2. Once we've written everything down on that daily task manager, we then must prioritize your list. Number them in the order of completion on that one page. This method alone of planning ahead will increase your speed. Urgent and most important tasks, they must get numbered first, and add your I am statements to the bottom. So the thing is, it's all good and well for me to say, for you to write down, I am effective and efficient with my time. You and I know that your self-discipline and your personal habits of making you write this down every day isn't good enough. So on the bottom of your daily task manager, down the bottom, you can see that's where you write, I am effective and efficient with my time. Me personally, I also write down, I weigh, and I put down the actual weight that I believe is my ideal weight, which is, of course, less than what I am at the moment. I put down, I earn, and that is the actual desired earning capacity I want to be. So I actually have about 10 of these things I write down. For you, just write down, I am effective and efficient with my time, in that space down the bottom, and don't leave it blank. discipline yourself to make sure you write that in every day. That's a benefit of writing everything down as opposed to typing it up and reading. Every time you write down that statement, you are participating in that statement. It is going in deeper every time you write it down as opposed to just reading. So above, you can see your phone calls. You can see the numbers there next to the tasks. All right, you just number them in order of priority on how you want to do it. So I just throw everything into phone calls, everything into emails, everything into importance and less priority, and then I number it from there, and work's an absolute treat. All righty, now skill number 3. Let's talk about the power of focus. And on the slide here, you can see a fluorescent light. It's a nice, gentle light that permeates through the room, and it gives a gentle light that you can see. But that same light, that same piece of technology with a bit of alteration can be turned into a laser, and that laser can focus that light into a beam so powerful it can cut through steel. Such is your mind's power as well. Your focus can be really vague and very generalized, or it can be absolutely laser focused so you can get your work done without mistake. Alrighty, now, so learn to focus on a task until it's 100% complete. Don't stop. This is where you get most speed. And already you're thinking, well, Darren, I'm dealing with interruptions all day, every day. That is the problem. Interruptions are the issue. And we're going to deal with that shortly on ways and strategies that you can reduce or eliminate interruptions. It's actually the interruptions that's your enemy. Your interruptions that are coming in is slowing you down 2 to 3 times than what you could be doing. Now, you understand exactly what I'm talking about here. Have you ever come in on the weekend when the door is shut, the phones aren't ringing, and how much stuff did you get done? Well, you can actually take and transfer with what I'm teaching you today, transfer that effectiveness of getting your tasks done into your working day, but you must follow what I'm teaching you here. Alrighty, now focus gives you accuracy and thoroughness. The more you're able to focus on that task, finish it 100%, the more that you're not going to make mistakes. I want you to loathe making mistakes and double handling. I want you to get that task done without ever having to see it again. And don't fool yourself. If you don't get it done right now, or you've missed something out, or you didn't follow something on that checklist, don't fool yourself. Do not think that it just disappears and goes poof on a foggy morning that just evaporates as the sun gets hotter. It doesn't happen that way. What happens if you haven't done that job or that checklist properly is simply goes into hibernation, and it will come out later. It's going to take up 3 to 4 times more time. It's going to have stress. It's going to have conflict, and it's going to come after you and tap you on the shoulder to deal with it at a time when you are simply not ready, and it's going to be an absolute inconvenience, I should say. And that sounds like stress to me. Did you know a lot of property managers work like that? They're busy fixing the mistakes of yesterday and working part-time in putting out the fires and the mistakes and the negligence of yesterday because they didn't do it properly. And now they're only working part-time with the full-time issues of today. That's called stress. That's why we must learn to focus with accuracy and thoroughness without interruption. It's the interruptions that also cause us to make errors and not do things properly. Interruptions are your enemy. Okay, now once you've finished that task, either move on to the next task or take a break. Alrighty, but always be in a position where you're in the most productive mindset to get that task done and just get it done without stopping. Okay, now, as I said, interruptions will halt exactly what I'm teaching you here. So that's where we've got to take control. So let's talk about reducing interruptions and get a ton more done in the office. Now, firstly, we need to change some of the ways that we think. Now, customer service is as important as getting your work done. Customer service is not more important than getting your work done. Please understand that. Now, I was dealing with a team overseas. I was in Texas in the United States doing a business health check. Wonderful company, awesome people. In fact, officers from around United States fly in to see the operation of this business. They are so good, and I'm working with them, and what a privilege they are to work with them. So I'm actually in the boardroom with the team. The boss gets up and walks out, and I say, guys, you're doing so well done, congratulations. You know, none of them were smiling at me. There was about 15 of them. None of them were smiling at me. In fact, they had burnout in their eyes and they were disillusioned. They said, Darren, yeah, we can't get anything done because we have to pick up that phone straight away. We have to attend to those blow-in appointments, people that come in without an appointment at reception. We're always getting interrupted. We just simply cannot get our work done. So people, customer service is really important, but it's not at the cost of getting your work done. There has to be a balance. So it's the stop-start. It's the constant interruptions of your tasks that creates mistakes. It slows down your workflow, causing time blowout, out of control. And guess what, people? It pushes you into after hours mode. When you get pushed into after hours mode, that causes resentment, it causes disillusion, it causes stress, and in the end, it leads to burnout. And the final chapter of that is your resignation. So you got to take control over interruptions. Okay, again, after hours mode will be created if you do not know how to take control of the interruptions and get your work done and most effectively and efficiently during working hours. That's the key. So you're going to have to create daily task time slots, whether it's 2 hours at a time, where you have to be uninterrupted. It's that 1 hour, that 2 hours, or that 3 hours in one stretch where you cannot be interrupted. That's the key here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get into 18 different things that you can implement, and that's pure smorgasbord, guys. Some things may not work for you, some things do. So just take and cherry pick out of it what might work for you. But before I start, you must have the support of management. If reception doesn't support you with this, and if management doesn't agree to the importance of getting your work done, I'm sorry, nothing can help you. Even if you get management to have a look at this video, to understand the thinking behind why we have to reduce or eliminate office interruptions. Really important. Otherwise, if support doesn't support you, as in reception, then guess what? They're just going to put those calls through to you. They're just going to buzz those people at front reception through to you that came without appointment, all those sorts of things. Okay, now, here are some ideas to help you. Again, smorgasbord. At your desk, put up a red flag, which lets everybody know that you're in uninterruption mode. Or I know another lady in Sydney, she puts on noise cancelling earphones, and that lets everybody know she's in timeout mode. Or place a sign on your chair. Also, maybe your phone, put it on a do not disturb, so it just goes through to a message bank. But with your message bank, have an effective, up-to-date message on your phone. It only takes a few seconds to change it. Have something like, hi, Darren Hunter here. Today is Wednesday, the 11th of October, and I will be unavailable right through to 12 noon. However, please leave a message and your number and your name, and I'll give you a call back after 12 noon, but certainly before 5 o'clock. Take control with your message bank. Take control with your cell phone or your mobile phone message bank as well. Don't just have, hi, I'm sorry, I'm not next to my desk at the moment. Please leave a message. Take control with an effective message. Okay, chatting. Cut down office chit chat. Now, look, socializing is important. Debriefing after we've had a bad day and talking about a situation, that's important, guys. I get that, but don't allow office chit chat to overcome your tasks that need to be done, because then that's another factor that's going to push you into after hours mode. Turn off notifications. Ensure that your notifications on your phone don't have, every time an SMS text or Facebook Messenger or an email comes in and it has don't be interrupted by every bing bong that comes in. Turn off your phone, put it on do not disturb. Your phone should have a do not disturb function. Don't allow yourself to be interrupted. You see, a lot of the time it's ours truly that can be our own worst enemy when it comes to interruptions. We interrupt ourselves by our need and our addiction to look at Facebook and social media and Twitter and looking at Snapchat or whatever. Don't do that. Discipline yourself to put your phone away and have periods of where you're away from things that will interrupt you. Okay, now with reception, determine what is an interruption exception. Could it be, you could say to the receptionist, look, an exception to be interrupted could be, look, if there is a serious repair issue. It could be a hot water service is gone, or a blocked drain, or a toilet that's backing up, or something like that. Just allow reception to know under what conditions they can interrupt you, and of course, everything else you cannot be interrupted for. Now, with your tradespeople, of course, Americans, they call them vendors. We call them tradespeople. Generally, they're of male gender. And property managers, generally, certainly in Australia, are of female agenda. And boy, don't the guys love that. They've been down working really hard out, unblocking drains or whatever a tradesperson does, and they want to come in and chit chat to the pretty ladies. Well, leave your keys out at reception if you don't need to be speaking to the tradesperson on work business. Okay, just take control of things that could try to interrupt your agenda. Now, sometimes you need cafe timeout. If you're a property manager, you're used to coming in and out, if you've got that flexibility, which is likely, get out, escape to a local cafe, plug in your headphones, put some relaxing music on, head down, get your work done, get your tasks done where you're uninterrupted, place your phone on, do not disturb. Now, blow-in appointments. They're the people that come into reception without an appointment. You get a buzz through from the reception. Oh, hi, Darren. John's here to see you. Has he got an appointment? No. Okay, so you can't avoid them. You can't ignore them. You've got to deal with it. Now, this is what I find. When you go up to reception, you could say, hi, John, how can I help you? Oh, Darren, I know that you're busy. You heard that one before. I know you're busy, but hey, remember that inspection where you came to a couple of months ago? Hey, my Auntie Margaret, well, she's coming out to Australia next year, and I was just wondering what you got for rent now. Also, remember Uncle Toby had a bad toe, and I remember the cat was sick, and oh yes, I also wanted to talk to you about my lease renewal. And they give you this, what I call fluff talk, which is not immediately, relevant to the situation if you do not take control. So let's rewind. Let's go back out to the front counter and go, hi, John. Good to see you. Look, I've got an urgent call coming in 2 minutes' time. How can I help you? And now John, in his mind, is filtering out all of that unnecessary conversation that didn't need to happen because he's only got 2 minutes. So now he's saying, oh, hi, Darren. I know you're busy. Hey, I only wanted to talk to you about my lease renewal. You see how you took control? And that giving a time expectation up front also works. For example, if you're meeting an owner at a routine inspection where they want to look through the property with you, you and I know that those appointments can blow up to an hour, whether if you're doing that routine inspection on your own at the property, it could be 15, 20 minutes. So when you roll up at the property, the owner's there at the gate, ready to walk onto the property with you to do an inspection with the tenant present or not present. It could be, oh, hi, John, good to see you. And the tenant's well aware that we're coming today. Just so you know, I need to be back in my car in 30 minutes' time. I need to go to an appointment. Whether that's the truth or not, it doesn't matter. You've now given a time expectation up front, and suddenly the whole meeting is now squeezed very neatly and very effectively into 30 minutes, where if you didn't give that time expectation up front, guess what? You're now at the mercy of the other person's agenda. This is how you take control. Also, if you've got appointments in the office saying, hey, look, I've only got 15 minutes, give your time expectations up front always. I'm hoping that one tip there will change the way you do and take control. All right, moving on. Now, having a power hour. This is where, for example, the whole office between 9 and 10 in the morning, everybody's completely and totally in uninterruption mode as well. hide yourself away or lock yourself away into the boardroom if you need a place where you can get some quiet time, or into another office that's vacant at the moment and you can use that. Now, also induct and educate your owners and tenants when you're available, when you're signing them up. Look, Mr. Owner, letting you know we're not always available. If you need to speak to us, please send me through an email or make an appointment time for you. We ask you not to come into the office without an appointment, because, for example, last week we had a guy that was waiting an hour and a half. He came in without an appointment. We don't want to inconvenience you like that. We're happy to give you our time, but please, can you email us ahead? Or if you send us an email, Mr. Owner, we'll get back to you within 24 hours. Or if you leave a call, please leave a message. We'll get back to you usually within the same working day. But induct and educate your owners and tenants up front on what your agenda is. If you don't give right expectations up front, guess what? You are now subject to their agenda, and every owner and every tenant has different expectations. And that's called stress, and that's called being out of control. So again, setting up an appointment only culture. You think, well, my owners and tenants, well, they're not going to do that. Well, guess what? Those same owners and tenants, they'll walk down the road and they'll make an appointment with their hairdresser, their accountant, their lawyer, whatever, or their doctor. They'll happily make appointments there, and you're saying they won't make it with you. What's the difference? You haven't set the right appointment culture. Okay, you see how you can take control. Also, adjusting your office hours. A good friend of mine, Michael Furlong in Melbourne, running a company called Map Real Estate. Now, he adjusted his office hours from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. down to 10 to 4 p.m. And that gave the office an extra 2 hours a day, 1 hour at the start, 1 hour at the end, in uninterrupted mode to get their work done. They didn't lose one client. I think in a year, they may have had one complaint that they dealt with. But of course, that's challenging traditional thinking. But in a lot of cases, new and better results are on the other side of our traditional mindset. Now, also repairs. Ensure all your repairs are reported in writing by tenants as well. When you're inducting them, don't allow them to verbally report repairs by a phone call or something like that. Have a much better system and induct that, train them, and keep them to a system in writing. Now, also listings. So if people are looking at property rental listings on a website portal, whatever one you're using, make sure it has all detailed information in there, exactly when they can view it. Or even better, use an online booking system like inspectrealestate.com.au, where tenants can then book online straight into that. They can register their details. You'll get their name and their phone number and all those sort of things. So the tenant doesn't have need to get on the phone to speak to a person, put into some phone queue, or leave messages which completely inundates you with workload that you can't keep up with. Use an efficient online booking system, or at least have detailed information so people don't need to call you up on detail and questions on things that could already be answered. And you and I know you can have all the information in those things and people still have the need to call as well. You've just got to be able to reduce the interruptions. Now, reception support. Ensure that reception gives out the right message as well. So if a person calls, if a person calls the office, the last thing a receptionist should say is, oh, hi, John is out at lunch at the moment, but leave a message and I'll get him to return your call when he gets back from lunch. That is the wrong thing for reception to say, because now John's going to come back in, he's going to see that number that he needs to be calling, and then suddenly he's not calling them back until 5 o'clock. But that client actually thinks they're going to get a call back after lunch. So make sure reception is giving the right expectations to people who call. Alrighty, now, there are some cases, remember I said this is a smorgasbord today, okay, but working from home, there are some property managers that have the trust and the agreements from management. It's really important. You need to be an effective, self-motivated worker before you even have the privilege of of working elsewhere, but there are some property managers at work, they're 2 or 3 days away from the office each week, and every one of them, when they work in a home office environment, they say how much actual work they can get done. But of course, management must be in full agreement, and you need to be very trustworthy in getting your work done as well. So guys, big session today. Next week, same time, we're going to be getting into part 2, where we're going to get better, faster, and stronger in the office and on the road. And of course, the week after, we're going to do part 3. So I'm hoping you guys got a lot out of today. Wendy, come back into the room. And of course, if anyone's got any questions, please fire them away.